StudnickaAquatics here. I have had this deck for quite a few years. It was salvage lumber when I got it, and it is redwood. And it had been left to the elements for a long time before I got it. It turned completely gray like redwood will. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add onto this deck, and I'm going to add on 5 feet. I'm going to take it out to the end of the garden right here, and then come across and over, and that'll give me a little more room for my table and for people. And then I'm going to add on to this brick area and bring it out 5 feet, and then I'm going to build me a brick grill in here. So that's the plan. Today I'm going to start building this deck, and I'll just try to add a little bit to it as I go. I have my miter saw set up. I need to get a cord, level everything. First thing I need to do is run string lines on the edges and get them perfectly level, get them even, and stake them in and figure out where I'm going, because I've got to dig holes for 4x4s. So anyway, I'll add to this. While doing my deck project, I walked into my walk-in humidor and picked out a Kaizad cigar. I know they're pretty good. I think I did a review on one quite a while ago. And so that's what I'm going to smoke while I do this project. Okay, the first step in this process is to get your straight lines going along the edge of the deck with the string. And then you stake it down, make sure you measure it properly, do the same thing on the other side. And I wanted to extend it 5 feet. I bought 10-foot lumber, so I'm going 4 feet 11.5 inches. That way I know for sure that I have enough lumber to cut for this. And I wanted to be even with the end of the garden, and I am. So now what I need to do is get my post hole diggers, and I need to dig a hole right here, one in the middle, and one on that end right there, so that I can put a 4x4 in there, pack it in, make sure it's at exactly the right place, so that when I put my stringer on the outside of this, my facing board, that the outside of the board is even with the outside, with the inside of this string. So I'm going to do that now. I have my treated 4x4 set. They are 1.5 inches from the edge to the string, because that's the outside edge, and they're 1.5 inches on this side, so I have room for framing. And this one here is 1.5 inches from this string, and all 3 of them are a shade over 1.5 inches down from the top of the deck, so I have room for my decking. So next step is to start framing this thing up. That's my plan. Okay, I have my stringers in. Of course I've set post here, here and there, and that supports that. Like I said before, there is a 4x4 under there, there's one under there and one under there. So by screwing that to that, and I have lag bolts, and I'm going to lag all of these into these eventually for your main supports. And then I needed another stringer across the middle. Make sure you always use treated lumber. You can get green treated, and you can get red treated, and I like to use the red on the outside. It looks better than the green. And of course I'm going to need one more support here in the middle. So what I need to do now is cut off a 4x4, get it sunk in there, screwed in, and then I think I'm going to take a break and eat lunch, and then I can start putting my decking on. And then I will eventually pull all of that off and plane it down so that it looks like that. Okay, everything is level, everything is square. It is level with the other one, square with the other one. It'll just be a continuous thing, and I do have that middle support put in now. So I'm gonna get something to eat, and then I might work on that decking after lunch. Okay, as I'm laying my decking boards, I'm measuring from this end over so I get an accurate measurement, but also measure your gap and then bring over here, measure it. But every couple of boards, take a measurement from this end over to your board, and then from that end over to your board, and adjust accordingly so that you know that you're on all the way, because you may have to adjust just a little bit as you go. I checked it with a level, and everything is level with the other deck, and everything looks really good. And once I get this deck on there and then remove those other boards one at a time and plane them down, then it's going to be a nice looking deck, and I'll just go ahead and treat it. So anyway, going to keep moving forward. One thing I wanted to mention is be sure and use deck screws, because they have a coating on them that keeps them from rusting, and you definitely don't want them to rust. The other thing you want to do is you want to countersink every screw, because if you live in a part of the country where you get snow and those little screw heads are sticking up and you try to scoop the snow off the deck, every time you hit one of those screws, it's very aggravating. So make sure you countersink it just a little bit. Okay, my deck addition is completely done. I added 5 feet to it. It makes it a lot nicer. And as you can see, the new redwood, of course, is going to be a little different color than the old redwood. And I'm slowly going through and planing this other stuff off. It does look a lot better planed off, and I'll get it all planed, and then I'll treat it with a clear seal. Okay, my deck project is completely done. and I think it turned out really, really nice. Of course, the new addition, the redwood, is lighter than the older lumber that's been around a long time, but planing it off really did a nice job of making it look a lot better. So I thought about staggering them to kind of mix it up a little bit, but it's going to even out over time anyway, and I really don't mind it the way it is. So anyway, it does make for a lot nicer deck. I have room for my table and chairs. Chickens are making a lot of noise today. I have my chicken tunnel. So anyway, I have room for my table and chairs. It's just a lot better size, and I went ahead and planed off all that lumber for the walkway and everything. So anyway, it's been kind of a fun project. I'm glad I got it done. This is StudnickaAquatics, and thanks for watching.